All right, we will open the city council study meeting tonight of May 6th, 2024. First thing on the agenda is the Catch Des Moines update, and I will present Mr. Greg Edwards.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, good evening, City Manager. How fast? Chief, good luck on your presentation.
You too. Thank you.
We'll need it more than you. Thanks for having us. Our annual presentation to the council. Go over some things from last fiscal year and update you on things that are going on currently. We certainly have a mission statement. Our mission statement is essentially to bring in more visitors to the metro area, conventions, meetings, sports, etc. And we kind of came up with a new, some too long to read, but so many people even stop in our office and say, what's a Catch Des Moines? And so we explain what we do. And this is a little more in just English jargon here. The stuff we do, bring in the Dew Tour, NCAA championships, Savannah Bananas. We had a hand in that. Fun place for people to visit and come and shop and spend money and et cetera, et cetera. Our current board is made up of essentially all the 28 East cities have a seat on the board. Steve is the representative to your board. Appreciate you being there, and he's been a good conscientious board member so far. Brian Mulcahy, who's the assistant executive director of the Des Moines Airport, is our current chair, followed by Greg Hudson, city councilman from West Des Moines. Chris Conley from the Iowa Event Center is our treasurer. Steve Peters, Hotel Fort Des Moines, and the newly elected mayor, Connie Boson from Des Moines, makes up our executive board. They meet weekly. The rest of our board meets quarterly. I think you're familiar with the majority of our funding. About 88% of our funding comes through hotel motel tax. People travel here. Hopefully they spend the night. They spend money in a lot of different places, restaurants, shopping, entertainment, etc. Hopefully they spend the night in a hotel. And when they do so, they pay an additional 7% hotel motel tax, of which we receive 2/7 of that, or about 28%. Hotel then writes the check to the state of Iowa. The state of Iowa that returns the money to the cities or municipalities, and then they dole it out accordingly. 2/7 to Catch Des Moines, 2/7 to Bravo, and then 3/7 do remain the city itself. Part of our budget breakdown. Denman Associates is our accounting firm that does our annual audits, and they broke this down for us. 15% of our total budget is spent on admin. The rest is spent where it should be spent, and that's in marketing, sales, and our sports programs. Last year in review, we helped service 371 different conventions. 250 of those were actual conventions of sports that we actually booked ourselves. And 261 of those are for future years, things that we have booked in the future. A quick review, again, this goes back to last fiscal year, but you can see some of the stuff that came in last year, including Ironman, Drake Relays, NCAA basketball tournament we hosted last March, Inform Progress, which we will host again this August up in Boone, which is a huge undertaking. NAIA men's volleyball championships we held, and you can see some of the other major things that were here in last fiscal year. Coming in this fiscal year, you can see obviously IndyCar IV deal in Newton has a huge effect on the whole metro area, as well as the new NASCAR race that'll be over in Newton a couple weeks prior to that. I mentioned Farm Progress. World Pork Expo returns. That brings in about 10 to 15,000 pork producers and exhibitors from all over the country. One of the biggies this summer is National Speech and Debate Championships. This will be the first time that our Metro has hosted that event. That'll bring in roughly 8,000 students from across the country competing in all kinds of speech and debate competitions. Along with their parents, coaches, or what have you, anticipating over 12 to 13,000 people in here for about a 10-day period. Huge piece of business for us. We also host in June the National Junior High School Rodeo Championships out at State Fairgrounds, which is another great event for us. Week-long event, brings in about 1,200 people. We're proud to host that once again this year. And you can see some of the other things that we're also going to draw in this year as well. This is just a small sampling of the hundreds of other things that we've brought in. Our sales efforts continue. We do 10 different major trade shows every year. One of which we are in LA currently this week for what's called the IPW. It used to be called the International Powwow. And this is brought to us by U.S. Travel Association. This is where they bring in roughly 6,000 international planners that come in to look at the U.S. for different itineraries, tours, things like that. We also do 3 sports related sports shows, some religious shows, medical shows, small meetings, and general convention activity as well. We have a high focus on the Washington, D.C. market, which is obviously where a lot of the national associations are located. We make trips to Washington about every other month with our sales team, either doing special events or attending special meetings that are happening out in D.C. and connecting with national meeting planners and what have you. Third-party relationships. There's a lot of third-party organizations out there that now help plan meetings. Companies called Merritt's Travel, Conference Direct, Helms Briscoe. There's all kinds of different organizations now that rather than hire somebody within their own staff, it's a third-party company. And we do a lot of sponsorships with these groups too to keep our names out front with them as well. We go up a lot of CVB events with national governing bodies, including all the USA Olympic team organizations and things like that, and national planners as well. Membership attendance, we are members of probably 12 to 15 different national organizations, obviously, again, to keep our name out in front of these people. Sales calls this fiscal year, we plan obviously in DC, Colorado Springs. We hit Colorado Springs at least once or twice a year. Again, that's where all the Olympic national governing bodies are located. Minneapolis will hit this year and Chicago as well. Chicago's great for the medical market and other large association business. Site visits last year and this year, our goal is to surpass 75 site visits, which I'm sure we will easily achieve. That's where we bring in planners or boards or whatever and really show them the whole metro area and try to get their nod to come here in the future. We also formed several years ago a sports advisory committee. This is made up of all our local, from Iowa Cubs to the Iowa Wild to Parks and Rec people. Marty from Simpson College participates on that with us as well. Anybody related in the sports industry as well. Customer Advisory Board is a group we bring in twice a year. These are people from all over the country, meeting planners, sports planners. There's about 15 of them that we bring in. In fact, we just had them here last week. And we had about a day and a half meeting with them, present to them some of the things we're working on and how we're going about it, and really get their feedback on how we can do a better job and perhaps obviously increase our bookings as well. And then our Catch Champions program is reaching out, and Brock will probably hit on that here in a little bit, on how we reach out to local people, whether you're a member of a church board or a fraternity, sorority, or a corporate board or whatever, inviting those groups to come into the metro and next event here. Specific National Senior Games we're going to host in 2025. They've been here and we worked with Amanda and her team. We showed them Pickard Park for disc golf, Simpson for track and field. They're still determining their facilities, but that's going to be a huge group here next summer. National Senior Games is 50 and over, 24 different sports they participate in, ages 50 and up, as I mentioned, and it's about 12 to 14,000 participants in that. So be a great piece of business as well. The Des Moines Challenge for 2025 and beyond. We do work with the disc golf people. In fact, we're doing a sponsorship this year with that group. D3 volleyball, we have bid. We did our NCAA bids earlier this year. Will be determined at the end of this year. We bid on basketball, men's basketball, women's basketball, and then with Simpson, we bid on some D3 events, including some D3 volleyball. So we're hopeful on that as well. And then we've assisted, we've really got a strong relationship now with Simpson, with Marty, which I think is a little bit changed from the past direction that we had with them. But Marty's really gung-ho on trying to open up and host more things at the college. And so we're pleased with that as well. Just a quick chart to show you, and we're still not hitting on all cylinders quite yet. Our metro occupancy last year came in at 56.6%. Average daily rates are $117.63. You can see we're still not back to 2019 was probably our best year previously to that. And we're still seeing a lag in that in 2024. I think, our group business is good. Our sports business, leisure and all that is really strong. Corporate business is just not back to where it was a couple of years ago. I think it's a lot to do with hybrid working and all kinds of different changes within the corporate market as well. And then I'll turn it over to my Lacona buddy here, all the way from Lacona, Iowa, Brock.
All right, this first slide here, just a quick review of some of the major marketing metrics that we tracked over the last fiscal year. First, I'll talk a little bit about the media highlights. So we try really hard to get earned media impressions. So that's media impressions that we're obviously not paying for, but it's pitching stories and trying to get people to talk about us, whether that's locally, throughout the state, Midwest, regionally, and throughout the country. But the last fiscal year, we got over 510 million impressions through those efforts. And then we track this through our platform, but it equaled out to a little over $1 million of extra advertising essentially through those efforts. So we're very excited about that. You can see some of the major publications there on the right that we worked with. Sports Travel, obviously the sports industry for us has really grown the last few years, and we've gotten a lot of great pub through some of those sport publications. There at the bottom, we had over 1.6 million website visitors last year, which was 28% higher than we've ever had previously on our website. So that just continues to grow this year. Obviously, our fiscal year ends June 30. We're tracking to have over 2 million website visitors this year. So that continues to go up. A big one of that is this year we should have close to 1 million people that have visited our calendar events. So that's people that are not just visitors, but also locals looking for things to do in the community. And so I think, we talked a little about that last week, Amanda, but just making sure that we're getting events that are happening down here in Indianola on that calendar events for our website, because it is getting a lot of traffic and it continues to grow. Here is this fiscal year that we're closing up here in the next couple of months, but this is the advertising strategy that we've used. Our main leisure markets, so outside of what we do on the sports and meeting planner side of things and helping them market, the leisure side of things, the state of Iowa obviously is our biggest market. We hit that very hard. Omaha is our biggest out-of-state market. Kansas City, Minneapolis, and then 2 other markets that we've started marketing to the last 2 to 3 years is Milwaukee and Chicago. Chicago now is our second biggest out-of-state market for website traffic. And so that was something that we weren't really anticipating happening, and it's really growing. So I think we're getting a lot of people on that Chicago DMA that's deciding to try somewhere different for weekend visits, and we're excited to see where that continues to go. Some leisure interest there, kind of typical what you'd see when you're doing leisure marketing, but arts and culture is a very huge one. Breweries, brewery travel is getting very big, and we have a very great brewery scene in the metro region. Events and festivals, people travel obviously for events and festivals, and then base their weekends or their weeks around that. And then obviously family-friendly attractions are big: food, shopping, and sports. There on the right, I'll go through that quick. That's kind of what our advertising mix looks like. We're pretty happy with that. If you can see, it's pretty evenly split. So we're trying to make sure that we're staying in front of people when they're online looking for places to visit. looking for competitors or looking specifically for Greater Des Moines, that we're out there in front of them and we're getting them the right information to inspire travel here. So you can see there's social media, a little over 21%. Streaming TV continues to go up every year. That's your Hulu, YouTube TV, those streaming services. Broadcast TV is our traditional broadcast. Cable television still has its place there for sure. And then paid search is a big one that we've really leaned into this year, trying to get people that are specifically looking for travel, looking at our competitors for travel and getting them to our website and hopefully getting them to convert down that funnel. Pre-roll video, and then the last one there, radio and other out of home is kind of our bucket of other things that we do, not as much, but still a good place for that there. Specifically marketing within Indianola. So this is from 23 and 24. So that's last fiscal year and then coming into this year. We've had 64 mentions in 40 different newsletters. So we do weekly newsletters and monthly newsletters to locals and visitors alike. The National Balloon Classic was featured in our TV commercial last year that we showed. This year we launched kind of our second iteration of our commercial. It's a user-generated commercial. And then we'd run it through a TikTok campaign. And then we've had Pizza featured on that. So we were kind of fun to work with them. They're a great crew. We've had 7 videos on social media and pre-roll ads that have Indianola featured in it, 12 blogs, 17 TV and radio features. A lot of those are Greg on TV and radio talking about different events that are going on in the community. Then lastly here, we're launching a City Spotlight series here within we'll hear hopefully soon, but we're going to be launching it over the next year. And that's where we're going to be featuring different communities for a month-long period. So I know we're working with Amanda and you've been really great helping us with that. The launch of Experience Indianola, there's a lot of great content and we're going to help leverage that and put some media dollars behind that for the next month in June leading up to Ragbri and Balloon Classic. What's the other one that's happening right at the same time?
Arts Festival,
Arts
County
Festival.
Fair.
It's gonna be a busy month for you guys. But we're excited about that. So thanks for your help with that. You guys are gonna be the first community that we're doing that with. So we're really excited to see where that goes.
You hooked up with our communications director here and our communications person here in Indianola as well. Aaron,
Here.
back there in the corner.
No, not yet.
You might, before you leave, you might want to hook up with him and talk with him a little bit too about how he can help and whatever else he can do too.
Absolutely. Yep. Of course. Yeah.
You've done some great stuff too, so.
Thank you. And then last one, I'll pass it over to Greg.
And for every dollar we receive, we do have a formula. We return over $26 in the community, so pretty good ROI. And I'll kind of echo Brock's comments. Since the firecracker back here showed up a year and a half ago, she's made a difference. And honestly, smaller communities like Indianola, we work with several others. I don't know that we were that focused, and Amanda really opened our eyes to that. She came in, with a lot of great ideas. She's had multiple meetings with, especially Brock and our marketing team, and we are putting together more focus on these smaller communities because that is what makes our metro such a great region. I mean, you've got a little bit of everything right here, whether it be big city, small, whatever. So appreciate you and what you do here in Indy. So I'm happy to answer any questions or comments.
I have a couple, Mr. Edwards. So like you were talking about, we had the 1.6 million hits on the site last year. Is there a way to tell us how many maybe would have searched Indianola within your site?
Yeah, so what we can do would probably be better is so through our pay-per-click campaigns where we're getting people at what they're searching for online. That would probably be the best way to do it because it'd be in our site. We have a search function, but it's probably not as going to be as good as what Google would be able to provide for us. But yeah, we can definitely probably pull that information. Be good to know.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious if maybe historical data is that hit number increasing year over year. And so I went into your site and just searched for Indianola and it brings up some results. It says a campground and activity center. And is there a way that we can send you guys photos so you can add photos to to some of those
Yeah.
links? I mean, it just has a blue box in some of them, right? So if we could spice it up somehow, I didn't know if that's a
Yeah.
possibility.
Yep, so those listings, so when we get those partnerships on, they have access to our extranet where they actually enter that information. So they have a capability of putting up to 5 different photos in there. So yeah, if maybe it's like connected back here with communications, but yeah, if we can get any of those sort of assets, we can get those uploaded if partners have access to do it, but if they don't want to do it. Or
Yeah, I was looking at your slide of the balloon, right? It's Scott
Yeah.
Stifker and some great photos there, but I don't see them when they come here to the internet site. If we could add some of that pizzazz to what you had on your PowerPoint presentation, I mean, I think it would do wonders for us.
Yep, absolutely. And I think too, part of it's not only just a campaign, but we're going to be helping build out our web pages for all of our communities and
Okay.
get a little more robust. And I think that's for you guys specifically. We're leaning on Amanda because we're going to do that for all of our communities, but we're doing it with you guys first because you guys have got so much great assets recently with the site and the videos you guys have created and stuff. So that's going to help us get that on our site and help promote what you guys are doing too. So
I gotta echo your sentiments. I mean, that has been.
Yep.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
I would, so when you mention partners, though, those are the people that actually, businesses actually pay dollars to Catch Des Moines, is that correct?
yep. So the listings on our site are paid partnerships. And
Right.
so, yep.
So,
Or if it's a civic, so like Parks and Recs and those civic partners, they go for free on our site just because of what they do with the community. But
so what is it? $50,000 that we give Catch Des Moines right now. So are we considered a partner then of the city of Indianola, or is that just part of the game? Because I think, and I appreciate everything Amanda and Greg and Brock, you guys do too, but I think probably the biggest criticism that I hear in our community is that they go on the website and they don't find anything there for Indianola businesses and those kinds of things. And I'm hoping that we kind of move in that direction. That's been kind of the impetus of this council the last couple of years. That's Amanda's been pushing that for us as well, and we appreciate that. So.
The city is a partner, and then any departments of the city, the Parks and Rec and your parks and anything that the city governs are automatically in. We also, I mean, we have partnerships because that's another important revenue stream for us in our budget. But we also break out of that. If you go into some of our the best stuff that we now have, the best pizza, the best, all these different ratings, we go above and beyond. These people don't have to be partners. If Kelly's Little Nipper is the best place for a cheeseburger, we put Kelly's Little Nipper on there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Pete's Pizza. I don't know, was Pete's Pizza a partner? We're not a partner, but we featured them. And
Right.
so
That's my question on that. If you feature an article on them and you write it up, but then there's nothing driving that traffic back to Indianola and highlighting that business within.
I think that's going to change a lot with what Amanda's providing us.
But businesses still have to pay to be on your website, correct?
for the listing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's similar to like a chamber. It's a membership based thing. So if you're not a partner of the Chamber of Commerce, you're not gonna have a listing on the Chamber of Commerce page. So it'd be a very similar situation.
Well, what I would say is that Aaron has done some tremendous videos and a few other things as well. So again, I want to hook up with him on some of the things that he's done here in the community since he's been on board. What, maybe 6 or 8 months now, so.
We'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but and I appreciate the relationship. I know bringing Jay down here has made a big difference too, but Amanda's been pushing a lot of that as well. And Marty Bell's been great in promoting a lot of things as well. And I just want to make sure that and I appreciate the fact you're going to go into July and you're going to make us your feature city right away, because we do have so many things going on in July between the disc golf and the balloons and the county fair and the RAGBRAI. And I mean, it's just a month that's going to be crazy here. And so, the balloon traffic themselves, I don't know, Amanda, maybe you can correct me, but I'm thinking we probably bring in anywhere from 40 to 50,000 people over a 10-day run. And, a lot of folks stay in Des Moines, lots of folks stay down here, a lot of folks stay in the surrounding areas. So it's kind of important to have those things in mind.
And we're a sponsor of that event as
Right,
well.
I
You
know.
probably knew
Yeah.
that, so.
Of course, the disc golf is growing and it's getting bigger and bigger all the time. And I know that Doug and his team on Park and Rec have created a second course here in Indianola. 9 holes, is that right? Or Doug, if I'm not mistaken. And so we do have an extra part for that. It's only 9 holes right now, but who knows? Anything else from the council? Any other comments? Amanda, do you want to add anything?
No, I don't think so. I think, I definitely have been working with the team to, evolve and, I'm excited about this next step. With the highlighting in June and stuff like that. I know council's concerned and community still concerned about that membership side and just it looking sparse, which I think we continue those conversations and figure out how we fix that. But I think things are headed in a much better direction right now.
I agree.
Oh, I did have something. So I'm on your website right now. And when I go to the page, there's, I guess maybe, I don't know if it's because I'm looking at it on a tablet, but how do I even search for associated communities?
So there's a visitor tab where you can go through and you can click through and it goes to metro communities. You kind of drill down in there, but yeah, you can get to the top.
Are you just looking for the search functionality? If you
So
click,
like the map, you mean?
Yeah, so you can do it through the maps. Yeah, so we launched that map when we relaunched our website this past year just to make it easier. So and it also shows our whole community. So if you hover over that, you can actually click on that and I'll go to our city page. And so that was kind of our step one, creating that illustrated map that shows our region as a whole. That you can then click on it, and that's part of what we're working on is highlighting all these communities and working with our chambers in each different community to create specific web pages for them. And so I think kind of the workaround, not to get too deep into it, but what we're talking about with membership stuff and having it, what that looks different would be working with Amanda and her team would be creating those pages. And then instead of listing them on your site, just because you can't do that because other partners are paying for their stuff, would be linking out directly to the Experience Indianola site that would then show everything as far as restaurants and stuff there. So that's kind of the workaround that we're doing.
I got you.
It just takes a little bit of time to do that and.
So like at the top of the page, there won't ever be anything that says like associated community.
The way it is.
And then go to regions.
Planners.
Plan to the right.
Yeah, plan on the upper right, and then that goes to regions, and then you can break down the different
And
communities.
that shows all different communities there.
I'll just add like
You're on the planner side. So if you click the visitors tab,
Yeah.
and it's clearly right is at the top is plan. So that's like planning your trip.
No, not that far.
There we go. Okay.
Right,
I
Sarah?
can see it now.
Clear right to the center.
Ah, you went, no, you did not that one. Don't do that one.
hold down there, Jason.
No, you missed it.
I'll show you. On there, I can show you. What-
So whether you're
Go to plan, right?
Straight up. There you go. So if you go to Metro, there are regions, yep,
Oh, regions.
The first one.
yep, top one. There you go. So then go there and
There's
break
Indianola.
down all of them,
There we go.
This is the page that's being read.
yeah. Redone, yeah. And
And that
so,
would be the Experience Indianola page, is that what I'm
yeah,
hearing?
and so we're gonna work on there. I think there's 5 different categories. So it'll be like things to do, places to eat, events, and it'll all be directed link there. So it'll show what's on our site, but then also link out with what Amanda
Good.
and team's created already, then we'll keep that going to year over year. So.
Yeah,
One of the things I'll just add as an opportunity, I think that us as a community can take and leverage with Catch Des Moines is, the beginning first 10 slides, or I'm not sure of what Greg shared was the large events, the corporate events, the sporting events and all of that stuff. And I think we have so much untapped potential, and it's part of us defining as a community, what do we want to do more of? And then leaning on them and saying, go find this for us or help us bring this to our community. And I know I had some conversations with, they've got a lady who kind of is in charge of groups. They've got tour buses coming through. And so I'm getting her itineraries and things to be thinking about what we can bring down here. That would be, I know we've got 3-day tours coming through during the National Balloon Classic, and we're splitting it with Des Moines, with Winterset, with here, with Cumming. And so the more we can kind of partner in those areas, that's where to me, the big groups, because the website's the individual traveler where they're working one-on-one with the big groups, and we just need to prod them and say, hey, remember us and think of us when we're, I think about disc golf and some of those other things. We could bring maybe even more. So yeah. So that's the opportunity I think we have to leverage that is we're just starting to bubble to the surface.
Agritourism, like you talked about.
Yes, the agritourism is a big one.
Huge growing sector, so.
And we've really been building out our agritourism itineraries and people are excited about it. The tour groups I just got another email today of another bus that's wanting to come. So there's some people talking about us, which is really good. But, we want bigger masses. And so I think that's where we can, if they're bringing in corporate, let's make sure they're coming down here to Red Acre Barn, wherever, hiring our restaurants, and we're putting on great events down here. And I think that's the opportunity that we have.
You do.
I have a question. So when we're back on that other tab, will those events then feed over to the events tab? So if people go to the calendar, will they see the events in
Not all of them, no.
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
you can, as a partner, you can put any events that you guys want on there. It might not show, so it is a separate calendar. They're not linked that way,
Yeah.
so. We would just need to have somebody, whether it's Amanda or somebody, I know you have all the time in the world, right? Somebody, if those events that you guys are collecting on the Experiencing Indianola site, those events, and we do a pretty good job. We have a couple different people who try to canvas events and make sure that they're on our site, but we really push partners to put their own events on there. For one, because there's ownership there, information's correct, or should be correct as much as possible. But then also there's contact information there. So as far as the event, if there's questions or stuff that's happening with it, there's a contact information there. So any events that are on the site locally, I would just make sure they get submitted on our event calendar.
And they can submit that for free. We have put that in our newsletter. The businesses that they can submit that listing for free. It's just, we can't for 300 plus businesses, we can't add all of their events, so they're gonna have to do it. But we have that in our newsletter as a prompt and reminder to get that done.
So they can go here and put it on there.
Yep. So if you go to our events calendar at the very top, there's a submit your event button. Just a form that you fill out. You can add I think it actually requires you to have a photo for it, but a photo, all the event information, dates and times, and that gets fed right into our calendar. And the reason why that's super important, one, it's getting a ton of website traffic to that, but also that's what we pull for Greg, talking about events that are happening in the metro. So TV, radio spots, that's where we pull that information is from our events calendar. In all of our newsletters, all that stuff gets pulled from the events. So it's really important to have that on there.
I was thinking of the concert that happened over the weekend.
Spring Revelry, I added Spring
Yeah,
Revel.
Yeah, I'm sure it was out there.
Mhm. The big ones I'll add.
Yeah,
Yes.
just making sure they get out here.
Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have anything else?
Just said thank you. Can we get a copy of the PowerPoint that you shared?
Yes, I have it. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Thank you again for your time, and now that your treasurer is here, I've gotta get out of here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. So I told you I get warmed up for it.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
We'll move on with our chief of police, Chief Shear, so on our discussion of the police department annual update.
Anyway, I gotta wait. One royalty watcher in the room.
Yeah.
There's good. Go back one. I was just testing you. You're doing great.
That's to me.
Very Pro Tem, Council Ben. Thank you for this opportunity to present the police department's 2023 annual report. It won't take much time. I know you all have the full version in your packet, so dive right into it. I'm looking at you.
Sorry, I was gonna, they got people on the.
Some employment highlights from 2023. Start with bad, lost 5 officers for various reasons. And this equates actually to 22% of the police department. We hired 6 officers, one was a hangover from 2022. And I just want to let you guys know, every time we hire someone, the estimated cost of that is $65,067.24. Yes, I've got it down to the penny. We hired Caleb Fullerton, Robert Hurley, Nico Pelkey, Michael Babcock, Ryan Baker, Joe Teagles. Let you know, Michael Babcock finished #1 in his class last academy. As of this moment, all 6 of them graduated law enforcement academy and 5 of the 6 of them are working independently. Officer Teagles has a couple weeks left to finish some field training because he was hired towards the end of last year. And once he gets that, we're almost there. We're currently in the process of hiring our 24th officer and last approved officer to obtain our authorized strength from the 2018 staffing study. Obviously, COVID, people leaving. So finally, we're hoping in a few months, we're going to be at that 24th officer according to where we should have been in 2018. During 2023, Rick Largess and Justin Keller were promoted to the rank of lieutenant. Brad Metcalf, Ty Sparks, and Devin Thomas were promoted to the rank of sergeant. Officer Nixon was assigned to be our canine handler. And on April 8th, it was a big day for us. Kilo hit the street and has made a great impact on narcotics enforcement. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. John Schumacher, who is present today, was assigned to the detective division. Officer Marshall was assigned to be Indianola's dare officer, and clerical Nicole Comrie went from part-time to full-time. Training, I get asked about training quite a bit. By the Iowa code, all officers are mandated 12 hours a year. That's it. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's the mandates and it's broken down. I won't get into, how much mental health and things you need to get. But in 2023, officers trained a total of 2,407 hours. We go way above and beyond with our training to have the most professional officers. This was an increase of 826 hours from 2022. One of the highlights of the training, formation of the special response team. This team is comprised of officers from Indianola, Warren County Sheriff's Office, Carlisle PD, with oversight and funding from the Warren County Attorney's Office. I'm often asked the question, is the police department prepared for an active shooter incident? I think at least 2 or 3 of you have asked me that personally, right? So my answer is this: we have many layers of preparedness. All officers are trained for an initial response to an active shooter. All the patrol guys, all of us officers, we're all trained the same for that initial response. Second layer is IPD is an active member of the Metro Star team. We have an officer assigned, Officer Chia. He trains with them once a month. He's on call for them every other week and paying member. But it's a cheap insurance policy. It's like $18,000 a year, but it's a cheap insurance policy for us. It's a phone call. They're down here. As I mentioned, the newly formed special response team, we hope to be active, up and ready July 1. Our target date, and I think we're on target. And lastly, we exceed our mandatory firearms training by far with instructed open range days and an excellent rifle program. It is the thing we train the most for and use the least. Just how it is. So the topic everyone wants to hear about, Kilo. First of all, thank you guys for funding that. It has made an enormous impact. April 8th, Kilo had his first shift. As a handler and canine team, Kilo and Officer Nixon have had 42 criminal charges from April 8th to December 31st. 13 of those charges being felonies. Also, during those charges, 4 illegal guns were taken off the streets of Indianola, and they were all connected with drugs. Officer Nixon and Trey have assisted several other agencies, including Des Moines PD, Warren County Sheriff's Office, and the State Patrol. Not to mention the dozens of presentation Officer Nixon and Kilo have done throughout the year. It has been an enormously successful program, and to date, I don't have the exact number of the $100,000 startup. We raised 40,000. 40% of our ask, we went out and raised them. One of the things we've done over the last couple of years is internal recognition. Of course, I'm doing it publicly now, but just to let you know what we do privately. City manager's been there for a couple of these. We recognize our officers that go above and beyond, clerical staff that goes above and beyond. And we're not doing it for the clicks, not for the photos, not for the Facebooks. We do it for ourselves. These officer and clerical staff are nominated internally by other officers, clerical staff, and are presented with a certificate and a pin for their actions. All right, let me set this up real quick. Here's a little palate cleanser because I'm sick of talking. You guys are sick of hearing me. This is just a regular traffic stop that we conduct 50 times a day. It's about 6 minutes long. Sorry, I couldn't edit it down anymore, but I just want you to watch.
I reached for the stop. Yeah.
Let's cut it down a little further. This is taking an extraordinary amount of time. This is not normal.
Body cameras are.
You're stealing my thunder. Stop stealing my thunders. Officers being patient, professional. If you didn't already said, my girlfriend and I are having issues. Body cameras, but our pens don't work sometimes.
Is this what you're showing?
Yeah. We need more beds. Yeah.
Infrastructure. Any questions on that? Get volunteers your copy. This copy, the company requires.
Still being professional, right?
Yes, not addition of guilt. What's that? So it's not an addition of guilt, it's just saying that you've identified what you're doing. That's the deal. It's not an addition of guilt, it's just saying that you've identified what you're doing. That's it. Yeah, but hate the signature, otherwise I'm gonna have to take the custody.
He gets that. If you put one right down the hips. So. We can put it now, please. Self-taught design academy handcuffs, professional all throughout. Thank you. Even after he ripped the ticket out of his hand. So a couple takeaways on that. As Steve mentioned, thank you for the body. We really appreciate it. Such a valuable tool. And honestly, you guys have made my life especially easy when I get complaints like that, especially the ones you read on Facebook. All I gotta do is press play. That's all I have to do. Very simple. Second takeaway is you see how fast things can turn. Just like that. Traffic stop, we do 40, 50 times a day. But that guy did give us some indicators, having problems with my girlfriend. He's taking an unusual amount of time to get through things. There's little clues that, and that's Sergeant Sparks. He knew, Sergeant Sparks knew what was coming. Just wanted to show you guys that and thank you for the body cameras. Okay, statistics. 2023 was a mix of good and bad for us. Our overall calls per service number was down 3.5%. And obviously we attribute some of this to being 5 officers short for a large portion of the year. However, narcotics cases were up 22.15%. We have a full-time narcotics detective. Again, I'm going to point him out because he's here. That's his own fault for being here. And Kilo and Officer Nixon hit the streets. Fraud cases were also up 23.89%. Scammers are always finding new and inventive ways to commit fraud. Although we can't stop a lot of these, as a department, we need to do a better job of educating the citizens. We've discussed that with the detectives. They're always a half a step ahead of us. So we're always playing catch up with that because we don't know what their new techniques are going to use. But we have to do a better job of educating. Traffic enforcement, OWIRS, parking tickets, they were all down last year. Again, the self-initiated activities are what's taken away when you're down all those officers. School resource officers. The number of official reports taken by Officer Hackett was up 51.1%. Works primarily at the high school and middle school, as you guys know, but he often handles issues at the elementary schools. And we looked at a lot of the cases this year and pulled a lot of Jay's cases, and mental health issues are definitely the driving force behind the increase. Of the 534 documented cases, Officer Hackett, only 32 of them led to a criminal charge. We do not use a school resource officer as a pipeline to the criminal justice system ever. Most cases are handled informally between Officer Hackett, student, the parent, and the school staff. Hit me one more if you would. Community, and this is where I'm gonna end this. We participate and get involved in anything and everything we can do. We can be involved in to highlight the city, police department, and to make our community a safe place to live. There's a real lot about community in your guys' packets. It's the biggest section, it's because the section I'm most proud of. I would happily entertain any questions.
I really have a question. 540 cases by Officer Hackett, and in 170 days. So he's roughly 3 days. 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know there's gonna be a discussion about a second school resource officer. I'm fully supportive of it.
The questions, comment for you. My fifth grader said Marshall is awesome there.
For a first year DARE teacher and some of us were at graduation, kids love them. I mean, and that's the whole goal of this. It's to start those relationships early. Not, he's teaching them valuable stuff. I mean, DARE is a wonderful program, bullying and legal narcotics, but it's also such an advantage for us to start those relationships before the middle school. Or Jay has to deal with them. Now we have someone else that can mentor them just a little bit before they get there.
So Chief, we compare ourselves to 15 cities. How are we doing department size wise? Everything else with that?
Kind of a loaded question. I mean, size, I've never had 24 officers, so I don't know. So I can't tell you what we're going to be able to do because it would be disingenuous me to sit here and say we need more officers because I don't know if we do. We've never had 24. If we're talking about other issues like compensation, that I don't want to open something. We're not doing well in that category, to be honest with you. I do have the latest numbers that I got this week that were, of the 14 I have, we're sitting at.
Well, I guess what I'm looking at is overall, we compete with those for resources, which are police officers. So-
Absolutely. The most
So
important
what do you think we have to do then to make sure that we maintain our 24 staffed police department?
We preempt that a little bit. There is not a man or woman on police department that I not want to be here. I want them all. I want them all to stay. We've never had such a cohesive group of people. And I mean, there's your union, Stuart. They seem to be enjoying themselves right now. Compensation. If the goal is that middle, which we're all okay with, let's keep us at that middle. Let's stop playing catch up.
I think your training obviously goes above and beyond. I mean, you probably do more training than anybody in that 14, 15 group, or pretty close to it anyway.
You do a lot of training in it.
And I think that's what keeps officers here too. You give them a lot of opportunities, so.
Absolutely.
And you certainly appreciate everything you do, and Jay has done a wonderful job. I've had some friends that have had him come out and visit and deal with some issues with a grandson, and I frankly and honestly, he does a wonderful job, and our DARE officer now as well, and everything that's going on in the department, so Kilo has been wonderful too. I've had some great conversations about dogs, so.
At the DARE graduation, no offense to Officer Marshall, but definitely Kilo got the biggest hand, that's for sure.
Council, do you have any other comments or have questions?
I got one more. So Chief, out of those 4 that we lost last year, was all 4 related to compensation?
No, we lost 5 and no, it was not all due. But that's really all I want to comment about that. One was a medical.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Yes. There was a report done on where our calls are in the city. And it showed that 50% of them roughly were two parts of town. How do we compare now to that?
I can get you that answer. I don't know that off the top of my head. We have all sorts of, especially with the body cameras, I know we're pressed for time here, but we have all sorts of things that we can look at, like there's heat maps and all sorts of things, because they're all GPS, and you can see where the officers concentrate and spend a lot of their time as well. I can definitely get you that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to accommodate you guys. I mean, you guys have done amazing. The new programs with K9, everything, that's been awesome.
I think I just want to say with community engagement in this community with our police department is exceptional.
It is.
And to have the close relations, not only with the schools, but especially with the schools, but community engagement at all levels. If there's anything that we can do as a community to support our public safety, it is to support this new building coming up. They they need to have a facility that accommodates their ability, not only to have great training, but to be able to have the capacity to provide the public safety essentials that we need as a community. And having, I shared this yesterday in an email, having lost an officer in my last community yesterday, and seeing the community outpouring, not only from my previous city, but throughout the entire state. You know it in times of crisis, how much the public supports their public safety and especially their police department. But you don't appreciate it and recognize the value that they bring until that crisis comes. And all I can say to the community that we have before us, this is our opportunity to stand behind our men and women in blue and in red, to be able to show our commitment to them and providing them the resources they need.
Would it be fair to say, Chief, if somebody came in and said, hey, show me what facilities you operate under and would that be something you folks would be willing to show somebody?
Anytime, any place.
Thank you. We're gonna wrap this up unless anybody has any other questions or comments. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it, Chief. We will adjourn for about 4 minutes. in at that point in time if they'd like. We have an oath of office for a Tracy Van Zant here, if she'd like to come up. And I'm gonna have the clerk present the oath of office.
Yes. Repeat after me, please. I, Tracy Van Zandt,
I, Tracy Van Zandt,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of
Constitution
the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of
and
Iowa,
the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially,
and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
of a firefighter paramedic
of a firefighter paramedic
of the City of Indianola, Iowa,
of the City of Indianola, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations. Thank you. She has some.
Congratulations. Family, do you have a family here? Come on up.
Sorry, guys.
We all.
Thank you.
It's the wrong way.
I'm gonna suggest when we build a new building, and we get it passed by a bond issue, that we have a place we can take a picture.
Oh, it's the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Now it's time for public comment. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to come up, I do have one here, but if, as soon as Barb, if you want to come on up, give us your name and address and, let us know what you want to talk about tonight.
Hi, good evening. Thank you again for letting us speak. My name is Barb Uris, at 1301 South K Street, and own the Cornford Bed and Breakfast. When it comes to the discussion on K Street, I'd like to have an estimate of, a better estimate of when the project's going to be started. Because I'll need to let guests know, because I'm booked out pretty solid now and from now until about the middle of September. So I would appreciate any heads up that you guys can give me.
Okay. We'll have that conversation here a little bit later, so stick around. Pass that over to the clerk, please. Okay, we have the consent agendas up currently then. Do we have anything that needs to be pulled from the consent?
I had a question about 6J.
Okay. Let's see if we can get, do anybody else have anything they want to pull? I'll take the motion. If not, I'll entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. We'll go to item J, did you say?
Yeah, 6J.
Go right ahead.
So for that playground, or I'm sorry, schoolyard development. So in order for them to get the grant, the city has to approve pretty much a tax abatement. Is that what it is?
Yep, so what they're doing is they're looking for a commitment from the city in some sort of financial aspect. For us, what we've had preliminary discussions with them, it would be the approval of the tax abatement by the council.
But would they have not? Does the development itself qualify for tax abatement or, okay, so really they're going to get it regardless.
Yep, so it's, you know, we go through the year designations, almost every single council meeting, we always get those applications in. So just to bring the council up to speed, in case you didn't know on that, what we do is we require the structures to be built and to be CO'd before we actually issue that tax abatement. So they've gone through the whole process of building, passing their inspections, getting on the landscaping and everything that's required in there, that they can go back and apply for those type of designations.
Charlie.
City manager, would you kind of run through some things real quickly here?
Sure. You bet. So on our consent agenda, we have several items this evening. We're setting a public hearing for June 3rd at 6 p.m. And just by way of information to the council, we are starting our meetings at 6 p.m. official for the future regular meetings will be starting at 6 p.m. in the month of June. Those are in some zoning regulations. We have several liquor licenses, several event applications from the public library to the Veterans Memorial Parade to modification, third readings of the village Westlake Life Community PC development. Some of those other events are Suds on Salem coming up, and the Indianola Chamber of Commerce Friday Night Live concert series coming up. We have some improvements to the pool that we're going to have over at the Indianola Wellness campus. We just talked about item J there a few minutes ago, and several updates to city policies. One of those being the city engineering services clause, to have our engineering services handled in-house as far as with our city engineer when it comes to things like staking and whatnot. So we work with our professional services provider in that. We also have the Iowa Main Street program application and the city support of it, as well as some changes to the retainage for the water resource recovery facility based on our negotiations there. Fencing at Pickard Park and changing some of our financial policies. Those are the highlights.
Thank you. Any other questions? Clerk will call the roll, please.
Councilmember Dalby,
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Teach,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Gray,
Aye.
I would just, a couple things real quickly here. I back on a little bit on that though for a moment. The Veterans Day Parade, I think that's going down South First Street. Is that correct? South, is that right? South First Street? Yes. Yeah, okay. And then the Suds on Salem is June 28th. I believe. Just want to mention the date on that. Okay. Council reports. We're going to go an update from OPM Architects on the public safety building, and we'll move forward with that.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for giving me a few minutes tonight to give you a brief update. I'll start just by, for those of you, I think most of everybody here is probably familiar with OPM, but just in case I want to share a little bit about who we are. We're a firm that was founded 45 years ago in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We've expanded to 5 locations total, one being one of the largest studios that we have. The other, or still being our Cedar Rapids studio and an Iowa City studio, and then the studio in Madison, Wisconsin, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Well, I'm here tonight. I'm not the only one in this team. Many of you all have met other members of our team. Aaron Cleet and Paige Lorenzo are not here with me tonight, but have been working on the project since the beginning. And then we have a couple of other consultants who have joined our team. Walker Consultants, who specializes in parking and parking layouts, who have already been at the table with us, working alongside of us for a while. Snyder and Associates, who often does work for the city, and then Terracon, who's already done their geotechnical services as well. I wanted to share very briefly what the guiding principles for the project are. These we established early on with the steering committee through visioning efforts, and we bring these up at every single meeting when we get together, just to make sure that we're always keeping in mind what the overall charge of the project is. So providing a functional modern facility that improves workflow and efficiency for the future, creating a civic building that balances public access and use with secured private zones, and then prioritizing design and placemaking that instills community pride and leaves a lasting. So very briefly here, what we've done so far and what we have left to do. We started our work with the steering committee earlier this year, right around the beginning of February, I believe. So we've been at this for about 3 months in total. In that time, we've done a programming effort to confirm the size of the building and the spaces that were needed. We've done some visioning, like I referenced earlier, very high level, helped us set some goals and think about what we wanted the building to accomplish. And then we've done some site evaluation and site concepts along with some building layout. So that's really where we're at today. As we move forward, we'll start to look at the overall massing of the building and then developing the concepts in more detail. We'll then share that information with our CM, probably sometime later this summer to get some costing information. So that we've got all that material in hand and at our disposal to use as we think about, prepping for the referendum to come this fall in November. So just a very high level look at how the building is starting to lay out, big picture. So we've got 3 levels, basement, ground floor, and a second floor. This is the basement level. So you can see to the north, we've got police spaces. And then we have a large shared area in the center that is including kind of our EOC or Emergency Operations Center, some city hall storage and other uses, and then some dedicated fire department spaces. And then as we go up to the first floor, we're starting to again see how those spaces stack. So we've got police spaces still to the north. Now you're starting to see running along the north side of the building, some indoor parking garage indicated. So we're right now shooting for somewhere between 22 and 25 enclosed parking garage spaces for the fleet vehicles. And then that shared public lobby is in the green color, and the fire department to the south there, you're seeing 8 apparatus bays, 6 of those that are pull through. And then as we get up to the second level, this is where all of the city spaces are located. We've got our council chambers, that shared lobby, and then the city hall office spaces to the north. To the south, we have those stacked fire department spaces, and which would be most of their residential areas. And then on the north, where you're seeing that gray zone right now, what we're looking at doing is creating some shell space, some future growth space for you, so that you can think about how to grow into that space as the needs might arise in the future. So in sum total, we're sitting at just over 100,000 square feet in the building layout. Which is directly in alignment with their programming. So we're feeling pretty good about where this is headed. That is all I had for you tonight. If you have any questions, I would be more than happy to try to answer them. Should be in alignment with the kind of original concept that was outlined of trying to connect to the downtown square and bringing that through. Helpful. So this is indicating where the future green space could be, and then that pedestrian connection kind of running down the center that helps connect to the future lobby space. So this is just demonstrating some of that site evaluation and site schemes as we very early on thought about them, and then how the building footprint starts to stack out of those.
The ballpark square footage of the building itself.
Just over 100,000. I think it's about sitting at about 105,000, and that's including that shelled growth area. So we programmed it right at 100,000. So we really what we've been able to lay out the spaces, or getting closer to lay out the spaces. We're finding some efficiency because that growth space is about 14,000 square feet. So we're capturing everything we need and still getting some good bang for our buck with that growth space.
That in, that's part of the steering committee, and I just would say to council, I think it's been really nice. And OPN have done a really good job of involving staff, the police, the fire, and really getting a nice collaborative effort from just the different teams, the department heads, and I think they're coming up with a building that is incredibly functional for each unit while being cross-functional for everybody. It's exciting to see it start to take shape. There's bubbles are starting to get places, and I think it's a really transformative project, especially sitting through Chief's presentation here, just thinking about some of that stuff and the ability to vehicles on site like that, right?
Yeah.
Is pretty exciting, and for the fire department to be able to have those pull through bays and while that's happening, really create a strong connection point, get back into the square for the city. It's pretty exciting stuff.
Danielle and her team are doing exceptionally good job, and like Councilman Rabe said, the interaction with our staff and the flow of how work takes place, how we bring people through the building is all being considered. We intentionally asked that this be very bubble at this level because we are still in the process of how layouts would work as far as bringing office spaces in and the flow of traffic and all that type of thing. And we didn't want to create any kind of false expectation because those things are still being locked in. But I think the layout that what you see right now is the layout that's really starting to take shape and being locked in and creates a great courtyard space and lead into the square and supporting the square going forward. So a lot of the great feedback that's been shared, I think is and gathered is really starting to come together in such a way that even concepts like we didn't really anticipate on some of the parking for the police department and having it enclosed and secure area for our police department, that lended itself automatically to creating some really nice expansion space in our building that allows us to grow and take future and provide it to the police department at the same time. So ideas that we didn't conceive of that they brought to the table and it's done a great job.
Question, so First Street, will be the pull in on the north end will be the pull into the public parking then, is that correct? Around the building? Clarify that for me if you can.
Yep, absolutely. Here, I'm gonna go one more slide. So you're starting to see off the sides over here as we get to the west of the site, the indication of where the future public parking would be. So what we've done is still planned for that, but kept it separate from all of the traffic for the building, which for safety reasons, we like to do. We like to try to keep police, fire, and public traffic all separate.
So First Street will be completely closed off and then that's right.
It would be vacated.
That's
Yep.
fine, yep. And
This
that's what we talked
fire lane
about.
is sort of sitting
Right.
on top of where First Street is currently.
Is public access then, what is that a sidewalk between the green and the?
Yep, that's exactly right. So with all of the public parking that would be here and this and a connection to the square, this would become a main pedestrian thoroughfare and we'd create this kind of courtyard entry zone as a welcoming area to try to pull people into the building.
And the entrances to the parking lots on either side are gonna be coming in from either the south or from the
That's
north.
right.
Sale of rights, yeah. Any other questions from council?
Looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn my page, folks. Okay, we have in front of us then a resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate an agreement with Ryan Companies regarding its construction management at risk proposal for the Indianola Public Safety and City Hall building project. So can I get a motion and a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. City manager?
Mayor Pro Tem and council members, we went through an extensive process to make sure that we had the right company come and work with us as a collaborative partnership and team with OPN. We advertised, had 10 great firms put in for this work. We were able to limit it down through an RFQ process to the 4, and any one of those 4 could have done an exceptional job for us. But through that RFQ process, we also conducted interviews. Both Councilman Rabe and Councilman Richardson participated in those, as well as Mayor Erickson participated in those as well. And as well as staff and OPN in helping to find the fit that makes the most sense and the best fit for our community. In addition to the RFQ and the interview process, we also had an RFP, request for proposal process, where we went through the fee structure as well. And with all that consolidated information, Ryan Companies rose to the top, and we're excited to make that recommendation as a committee to you for your consideration. They are here this evening if you like to hear a word or two from them.
Be great. Representative, want to come forward? Sure. State your name, please.
Sure, Dustin Curran, I'm Director of Development for Ryan Companies. I didn't know I'd be speaking tonight, but I appreciate the opportunity. We are extremely thrilled and excited to have the opportunity to partner with the City of Indianola and OPN and all the other consultants and stakeholders to really execute a wonderful project for the City of Indianola. So thank you so much for, the process and selection and the recommendation. And we're just excited to engage and get to work for you.
Would you just explain for anybody who might be listening or folks in the audience here, what the CM at risk really is and how that proposal works? Can you kind of give a brief, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, and so that's okay.
Sure. Well, it's a new, it was part of a new legislation that passed in 2021 that allowed cities, municipalities, and agencies to select a construction manager partner to work alongside them without going through a typical design bid build process. And so as a part of this, we are very similar to the construction manager as agent process that was allowable by Iowa state law. Previously, Ryan companies and their GCs are able to come to the table and be a partner and collaborate with the architect and owner to bring a project together in a more collaborative fashion so that you can reach a GMP, which is basically setting the ceiling for what the project cost may be and execute accordingly.
GMP is guaranteed maximum price.
Guaranteed maximum price. That's correct.
So that's what we were looking for. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You bet.
Thank you very much. So this, if the council so chooses to move forward with this recommendation, this authorizes me to begin negotiations and bringing a contract before you for your consideration at a future date.
And the goal all along is to have a guaranteed maximum price to go to the public and to have a plan that's readily available and so folks know what that is when we get out there to vote. Thank you. Any other questions for the camp for anybody else? Clerk, call the roll.
Member Beach.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Rabe.
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye. Motion passes. We will open it up to the treasurer's report. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask of Mr. Scholl?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Report before you is for the month of March, which is the 9th month of the 23rd, 2023-24 year. And I think that a couple of months ago, Mayor Pro Tem, you mentioned about the percentages. So this is the first time that I've seen the percentages on the report. So I'm assuming it's the first time they've been on the report. And I did talk to Jackie a little bit today, because yes, 9 months with something like 75%, and you can see some numbers moving around, and it could be something like the swimming pool is open a couple of months, say July and August, and then closes and then opens back up in June or May and June. But Jackie did say that in the future there will be some explanations of why these percentages are, say, different than what we assume they might be. The only other thing that maybe I've noticed the last 3 months is the fund balances are usually going down, and I'm sure that's by design. So other than that, Mayor Pro Tem, that would be the end of my.
I think the issue was that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, but I believe the issue was that we were trying to run down that almost full year of taxes we'd collected, and we're trying to spend that down to a point that we're not having to collect those and keep those.
That, and we are also winding up some projects. The WRF is closing up. The Hillcrest project is closing up. So some of those processes are.
That's why you're seeing some of those numbers that are out there on this percent. Right. Any other questions for Joel? Is this a roll call?
No.
Okay. Just receive and file. That's all we do. Okay, thank you. We'll go to receive and file the EMS billing report. Anybody have any questions for?
You didn't have a motion.
I'm sorry, we did not have a motion? I'll take a motion in a second to receive and file.
Moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Treasurer's report.
Just voice
All
vote.
in favor, yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those? Get this down yet. You give them any comment there. So. Now motion to receive and file the EMS billing report. So moved. Second. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion second. Questions for Chief Chia? Anything you want to add, chief?
This time,
Okay,
get easy on me.
you are, yes, you are. Just wait till that last month when you were working. All those in favor of receiving the billing report, EMS billing report, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Council reports, I believe Representative or Councilmember Sons has a report.
The landfill board met in March. And they will be moving into the new building, I think in May. We've been awaiting this for a while now. As you may recall, they had to relocate after the tornado. The new sign is now up, and one thing that they called out is that the sign specifically says no carbon blades, so they were happy about that. The audit report was received and filed in March. All deficiencies noted were mitigated with a couple of exceptions, and I'm working with Marcia on those. Otherwise, that's that on the landfill. I did want to let everyone know that I am serving on the Older Iowans Advisory Council for Warren County. I met this morning with Representative Bowden on a change in legislation that affects Milo and Lacona. It doesn't affect Indianola, but a cut in funding is impacting congregate meals for those two areas. So we're trying to find other options so that those seniors can still be served.
Well, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other council members have any reports today?
Not a report, I just had a question. Do you know what the delay was on them getting into the new building at the landfill?
I do not. I do know it took quite a while.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, appreciate that. Mayor report, community update. I was at the uptown on the first farmers market on the square. I was talking with a number of vendors there. They appreciated and even with some of the inclement weather we had early in the day, that they thought the traffic was good. Hopefully we can continue that and go forward. We've got lots of graduations coming along. I know there's been some parties in our neighborhood already, so please be careful as you travel some of the roads as kids are going to parties, and a few other things are happening here as well. Let's go on and move on with the approval of the reappointment of Sid Dyer to the Library Board of Trustees for a term beginning July 1, 2024 and ending July 1, 2030. Do I have a motion and a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Jackie?
Councilmember Dalby?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Teach?
Aye.
Stones?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Moving on, we have a resolution approving a letter of support and membership in the ARP network of age-friendly communities. Can I get a motion in a second? I'm gonna have Ben explain this one, or Jackie. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
A motion in a second?
We were approached by the state director for the AARP with Simpson College to bring greater awareness and support to our seniors and access to college resources, access to community resources. And with that, it brings opportunities for grants and things that we can do within our city right now. That really doesn't change a heck of a lot what we're doing. It just creates a greater focus. So as we plan for new facilities, are we accommodating our seniors in the design and those type of things? And so it's a great collaborative partnership as we work towards things like community centers and libraries and things like that. Trail Development, they are a willing partner to help us advocate for the future of our community. So we see it a great partnership with Simpson and with AARP.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Is there any difference as far as planning, like for the new building, compared to the following like the ADA compliance?
That's about it. It's not ADA, but just to consider and think about things thoughtfully. That really doesn't change costs or anything like that, but it takes seniors into consideration in those designs and facilities that we do provide. And it allows us to have a greater collaborative relationship with our seniors in general and with Simpson. So it's a win-win on all sides and really no additional cost.
Any other questions? Jackie?
Councilmember Psalms,
Aye.
Ray,
Aye.
Dolly,
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Moving on, we have a proclamation for Building Safety Month, and I should have talked to Jackie a little bit ahead. You're down at the bottom. You still have Mayor Erickson there. Shall I insert my name in there? Is that what we need to do?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't-
Different one.
Yeah, that's fine. Whereas the city of Indianola is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, infrastructure, play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved throughout through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety, fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildfires, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Mission Impossible, the theme of Building Safety Month 2024, encourages us all to raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential services provided to all of us by local, state, building departments, fire prevention bureaus, federal agencies, and protecting lives and property. Therefore, I, Steve Richardson, Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Indianola, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities. I also then have a proclamation recognizing Public Employee Month, Employee Recognition Month. Whereas the month of May includes Public Service Recognition Week, International Firefighters Day, National Police Week, and National EMS Week month. Whereas the residents of Indianola are served every day by public workers, and whereas the public employees of the city of Indianola are committed to providing citizens with quality and ample services and strive to improve the livability of the community through personal dedication, integrity, accountability, innovation, sensitivity, public safety, education, and leisure programs and administrative services. And whereas public servants are driven by a desire to give back to others, improve the quality of life of our residents, and help those in need. And whereas public employees serve citizens without wanting recognition or reward, and serve in our times of need with courage, compassion, and loyalty. And whereas at a moment's notice, firefighters are quick to respond to uncertain conditions, situations, while risking their lives in order to protect our community. And whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the members of the Indianola Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the residents and visitors of the city of Indianola. And whereas the dedicated and hardworking public employees of the city of Indianola deserve to be recognized, acknowledged, and supported for their efforts, selfless service, and sacrifices. Therefore, I, Steve Richardson, Mayor Pro Tem, do hereby proclaim May 4th as International Firefighters Day, May 5th through 11th as Public Service Recognition Week. May 12th through 18th is National Police Week, and May 19th to 25th is National EMS Week in Indianola. And I encourage all citizens to show support and appreciation to our public servants who work tirelessly to provide services required and expected by the public. All right, we shall move forward. We under old business, we have tobacco sales permit violation. I need to first and second motion on public hearing for Indy West regarding the mandatory $300 civil penalty prescribed by section 453A22(2)A for the violation of Iowa Code section 4053A21. Excuse me, selling, giving, or otherwise supplying any tobacco products, or cigarettes to any person under the age of 21 years of age. And motion a second. Open the public hearing. Second. Motion a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Riley?
Aye.
Dolby?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Beach?
Aye.
Jones?
It's a public hearing. Is there anybody wishes to speak on this issue? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing and a vote. Motion a second.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Beach?
Aye.
Jones? Aye. Gray?
Aye.
Dolby?
Aye.
Item B, I need a motion and a second to consider violation code section 453A21, selling or giving otherwise supplying any tobacco products or cigarettes to any person under 21 years of age and assessing a civil penalty of $300 against Indy West, 2001 West 2nd Avenue, the retail permit holder.
Second.
Motion and a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Aye.
Dolby?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Beach?
Aye.
Jones?
Item C, under old business, strike the public hearing for complaints on tobacco sales permits and violations for Ivy Fresh, Fast and Fresh from the agenda, and accept an acknowledgement settlement agreement for civic civil penalty. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Beach?
Aye.
Jones? Aye. Gray?
Aye.
Dolby?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2, South Cape South Cape paving project. We have a public hearing regarding the final plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for South Cape paving project. I need a motion and a second to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson? Armstrong?
Aye.
Beach?
Aye.
Jones?
Aye.
Gray?
Aye.
Dolby?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is open. I think Barb had some questions, but anybody else wishes to speak on that issue? South Cape paving project? Seeing none, can we get, Barb had a couple of questions, I believe. Can we get those answered by chance?
Sure. The point in the process that we're at is that we've had the letting, we have a parent low bidder, that's another action on the council agenda tonight. As soon as we have that, have them under contract, then we can talk specifically about schedule. The way the project is set up, it is a working day project, not a calendar day project. We've had some trouble with calendar day projects that always seems like November is way off. But this will be a working day contract. So we'll keep track of every day that it's suitable to work on the project after its late start date. So the late start date is June 3rd. So if they're not started by June 3rd, we start counting working days so that the project progresses and gets completed this year. It's my understanding that there's some desire on the part of the successful bidder that they'd like to start before that late start date. And before anything starts, there'll be a 72-hour notice period. So we'll also have a high level of communication. Closing a road like South K Street that's vital to the more regional network. We're going to message boards as part of the contract. We'll have a fairly robust communication program as the project progresses in various phases, become active. So that, I think, answers the question. I don't have a date for you.
Right.
And we don't have.
We're doing that in phases, though, is that correct? So phase one will be up the highway portion next to Highway 92, is that correct?
Let me flip it. That's
Okay.
The contractor, will propose a phasing plan.
Okay.
So they may want to do the south first, north, or the north first.
We just need to have Barb get in touch with you and talk with you. That's
And
fine.
we'll be certainly communicating with the neighborhood, again, as the project progresses. And that'll take many forms. We'll do the social media, posts, we'll have message boards, we'll even do door hangers, for certain events, if there's a water shut off, we'll do door hangers, things of that nature. Like on past projects.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Yes.
Sorry, I'm gonna add on to Dave's here. Sorry, I just had this presentation where I wanted to show you the scope of the project. You know, the scope of the project is, there's most of the project has asphalt, 3-inch asphalt with 12-inch cement-rated base. Then at the intersection, you have concrete pavement, while also replacing the major culverts. As Dave said, the project has a start date by June 3rd, that's by the contract, but depending on how soon we approve the contract, we may also have a public meeting. Generally, like Hillcrest, we have had a public meeting, so depending on this, how the project will be scheduled, what phase will start, we will also have a public meeting. We'll try to get that so that everybody is notified about this scope. And then, I mean, I can go over this quickly. We have received 7 bids for this project. The low bid is from Vanderpool. And then finally, what you're taking action today is basically awarding the contract. Obviously, the first action is to approve the final plans. And then after that, you're awarding the contract, authorizing a contingency amount, and then authorizing the mayor to execute the contract documents. And finally, you're also establishing the grade ordinance for South K Street.
Thank you. Any other comments? Entertain a motion to close the public hearing. So moved. Second. There we go. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson,
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Stones,
Aye.
Reed,
Aye.
Dalby,
Aye.
We have a resolution approving the final plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for South K paving project. Motion second.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I just had a couple questions real quick. I love how it turned out. I think it's great. I love where the project's going. Since we've recognized such a savings, I think that the best course of action would be to approve the contract to get it on schedule to keep going as planned. Would it be appropriate or possible to ask for staff to work with the contractor and see if there are some change of scopes that we could look at to maybe improve the design of the street or add to the life expectancy of it and have those brought back to us as a change of scope potential, such as maybe thickening the asphalt to add a longer life expectancy, if that's something that makes sense. I don't know if it does or not. Also, if we need to earmark some of this money upfront for some of the maintenance that we talked about immediately to lengthen the life of the road, that'd be great.
We can certainly go back with Snyder or with the contractor to bring options back to you for sure.
I'd just like to say, thanks to council for on your guys' shift and pivot to the current plan. And just absolutely, reducing that price tag. I appreciate that. And I know everybody over in that neighborhood appreciates it. And, and I'll say, thanks to Gwen on spearheading this project for her ward and finally getting like a decade-long type project, to where it is now. So.
Any other comments? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Stones, Ray,
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
I need a motion and a second to, resolution awarding the contract for South K paving project.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Stones, Ray,
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
Need a motion and a second to first reading of ordinance establishing the establishment of street grades for South Cape paving project. I believe that was in your packet as well. So need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Beach,
Aye.
Stones, Ray,
Aye.
And it's so important to note that on this particular one, we do want to make sure that the third reading is completed before the project anticipated start date. And so one of the options must be available to the council, and following standard practice of what we've done in the past. Option one is what we would recommend, which is to approve the second reading during your next meeting and waive the third reading during that meeting. If that is amenable to you, the other option is to hold a special meeting before the third reading, just for that very purpose.
Council, what do you want to do?
No objections to the second one. We've historically waived the third on items like this, correct?
This will keep the project on schedule and moving forward, and we can advertise it on the next meeting agenda.
If there's anybody on that area that wants to look at those grade schedules or anything that's available, I believe in Charlie's office, would that be, or is that in the AP's office? Okay, clerk's office, okay. So anybody wants to look at that grade schedule, see what the grades are on those, then check with, Jackie. Okay. We have a motion and a second, is that correct? No, we're all done. We're moving on to budget. I'm just trying to move us along here, folks. All right, we have a public hearing regarding the final plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Buxton traffic signal project. I need a motion and a second for public hearing to open that up.
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Let's call the roll, please.
Councilmember Beach,
Aye.
Stones,
Aye.
Ray,
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye. We're in the public hearing. Anybody in the audience wish to speak? Turn it over to AP because he's willing to go here. AP, go ahead.
So this is a project for traffic signal improvements at the intersection of Buxton and Highway 92. Primarily, that's a very old traffic signal controller, which is more than 60 or 70 years old. We're proposing to upgrade it. As a part of that, we're also doing some minor upgrades at the intersection of Highway 92 and Highway 65 by having some right turn overlap signal heads. And also we are proposing to have some sort of connectivity for traffic synchronization between those two signals. So what we did is we had a base bid for just the traffic signal improvements at the intersection of Highway 92 and Buxton Street. But then we had two more alternates. Alternate one was for fiber connectivity between Highway 65 and this intersection. Alternate two was for some wireless connectivity. The problem with wireless connectivity is sometimes we lose connection. So the low bid for the option two, which is the fiber connectivity, was from Klein Electric. And this project has the construction contract requires a start date of July 8th and then completed in 70 working days. With that being said, the same thing applies on this. The contractor may be willing to start early. Once we execute the contract documents, we'll have a start date, a confirmed start date from the construction contractor, depending on the council approval on this project. So what you're recommending is what staff is recommending is obviously to approve the final plans and then award the contract to Klein Electric for option two. You're also authorizing a contingency amount for the city manager and then allowing the mayor to execute the contract documents for this project.
Is there going to be a detour, I assume, on that intersection? Is that correct, or is it?
There will be lane closures. There won't be a complete closure on this intersection. So there won't be a detour as such for this.
Temporary signaling and stuff there.
Yep.
And then What was the original project budget on this?
We had,
Something thousand?
yeah, 540. 540, roughly around 540 was the engineer's estimate. That doesn't factor the engineering, design costs, and the overall project cost was substantially higher, but obviously we got some really good, construction award, on the option two, so we're seeing saving of roughly around 30%.
And the number of bids we got, AP?
We received, I think, on this 6, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Sorry, I should have asked you that question at a time, I apologize.
Six. On 6, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions from council?
Happy to see us go with the fiber,
Yes,
our connectivity, so.
good plan. Mayor. Let's call the roll.
The first and second motion to close the public hearing.
That would be good things. Second. So long. Got a motion to second. Don't call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Brave.
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
All right, so we have a resolution approving the final plan, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Buxton Traffic Signal Project. You have a motion, a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Richardson. Armstrong.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Brave.
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
I have a resolution awarding a contract for the Buxton Street Signal Project. I can have first a motion and a second.
So moved. Second.
Any comment or any questions? Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Beach.
Aye.
Stones.
Aye.
Brave.
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye. On new business. Jackie, you have some things you want to mention here before we get into a motion on this. Is that correct?
That was right. I need to.
That's right, correct. You want to go ahead and do that and then we'll get the resolution started here. You want to say something first or?
Well, the event policy one is first.
Resolution, excuse me, okay? I need a motion and a second to approve a resolution on amendment to the city council policy folder regarding an event application. Motion and second, any conversation? Or call a roll.
Councilmember Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Okay.
Beach.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Brave.
Aye.
Now, is that when you want to talk?
Yes. So the Rag Right ordinance just sets the vendor booth requirements, health and safety regulations, street closings, and issues a noise permit. I am asking that we add the words to the vendor booth location that they all need to be set up in such a manner as to allow emergency personnel a 10-foot wide emergency access road within 350 feet of all portions of the outdoor venue to facilitate emergency vehicle access. And then we change the application deadline from June 15th to June 1st.
Where the vendors can be set up at?
I'm around the square, I believe.
You want me to come?
Yeah, if you have more information on that, that'd be great.
So we are going, the riders will be coming down Buxton. And then we will have vendors set up on the inside in some cases where it works out and it won't block a business that is providing food or beverage. They'll be basically in the parking spaces. And then we also will be going off on Fingers down Salem, both directions. So towards West Hill as well as towards Cross Country. And then potentially, yeah, actually both ways on Ashland as well. We're gonna have some Ragbri support vehicles and emergency stations. So basically the Fingers.
Okay, so Jackie's added a couple things to the items here. Can I have a motion for first consideration of an ordinance pertaining to Ragbri with Jackie's amendments?
Second.
Motion is second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Brave.
We have a consideration of waiving second and third considerations on ordinance. Is this because of the time schedule then, I'm assuming?
That's correct.
Okay. I have a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Beach.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Brave.
Aye.
Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye. City managers report.
Mayor Pro Tem and Council, it's been a great couple of weeks having projects come together, work kick off, projects go out to bid with great numbers coming back and great excitement in our community coalescing behind things like our new Main Street Iowa designation application we're putting in, trying to align our resources, work with the downtown merchants, with the downtown commission, work with the chamber, and really trying to focus our efforts on making our future of our community great. I'm so glad that the Mayor Pro Tem honored our employees, especially our public safety employees in the weeks ahead. Also thankful to Representative Miller Meeks for honoring our fire chief. Chief Chia is still back there by honoring him in his years of service on the floor of the U.S. House of Representatives. And that's a great honor to him, and we appreciate her and her representation of our community. A lot of work has gone on this week to try to align the resources that we needed for the Main Street Iowa designation application. And I know a lot of work is being put forth by the IDM, by the chamber, and especially by our staff, putting that application together, as well as with Caleb Caleb is with. Oh, MIPA? Yes, MIPA. I'm sorry. I knew there was an acronym and I didn't want to. Planning lines. Great. Thank you. A lot of work has gone forward on the public safety building and the planning and getting our construction manager on board. So excited about that. And a great opportunity to honor our employees through the barbecue that we had. And if you're so inclined, I just want to invite the public out to support our fire department and public safety on May 11th for the pancake breakfast. So
Is the chief flipping pancakes?
yeah, he's out there. He's in grill. They won't let me near a grill, so I don't know. I'll let him or not.
Thank you.
You bet.
Item B is to enter into a closed session in accordance with Iowa Section Code 21.51J to discuss purchase and sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price of the governmental body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price of governmental body that would receive for that property. I need a motion and a second.
Second.
We'll call the roll, please.
Councilmember Richards, or Councilmember Dolby.
Aye.
Richardson.
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye.
Beach.
Aye.
Stones. Aye. Reagan.
Aye.
We'll take a short break here before we end. I want to say thank you to the folks on South J Street and that down there. Please get with Dave, but okay.